Welcome to Addie Tells long before Columbus, before the Ice Age hunters, before the first stone tools found in America. There may have been a forgotten route, not through frozen land but along the sea, a highway made not of stone or soil, but of kelp, vast underwater forests teeming with life. This is the story of the Kelp Highway, the ocean road that might have brought the first humans to the Americas, thousands of years earlier than anyone believed. For decades, scientists believed that the first Americans crossed an ice-free corridor between massive glaciers in North America about 13,000 years ago. These were the so-called Clovis people, mammoth hunters who walked from Siberia across a land bridge called Beringia. But there's one problem: new discoveries don't fit that story anymore. For decades, scientists believed that the first Americans crossed an ice-free corridor between massive glaciers in North America about 13,000 years ago. These were the so-called Clovis people, mammoth hunters who walked from Siberia across a land bridge called Beringia. But there's one problem: new discoveries don't fit that story anymore. In White Sands, New Mexico, archaeologists discovered human footprints dating back 23,000 years. That's 10,000 years before the ice-free corridor even opened. So if people were already in the Americas that early, how did they get there? This is where the Kelp Highway Hypothesis comes in. Instead of walking through an icy inland passage, early humans may have traveled along the Pacific coastline, following rich kelp forests that stretched for thousands of kilometers, from Japan and Siberia, across Beringia, and down the west coast of the Americas. It wasn't a barren, frozen wasteland. It was a living, breathing highway of marine life. These kelp forests were ecosystems full of food: fish, seaweed, shellfish, seals, and seabirds. For people who already knew how to fish, build simple boats, and live off the coast, this route would have been perfect. Evidence shows that by 50,000 years ago, modern humans were already crossing seas to reach Australia, the Philippines, and the islands of Japan. If they could travel those distances then, journeying along the northern Pacific coast 20,000 years ago doesn't seem impossible. It seems likely. These ancient coastal travelers may have used simple rafts or dugout canoes, hugging the shoreline and moving slowly, generation after generation. They didn't have to make one massive voyage. They just had to keep moving, following the coastline, living off the ocean. But make no mistake, and it wasn't easy. The northern Pacific was cold, stormy, and unpredictable. These early explorers would have faced icy winds, freezing waters, and shifting glaciers. Yet they survived, not because they fought nature, but because they adapted to it. As they moved south along the Pacific, they would have entered the lush kelp forests of the modern-day British Columbia, Washington, and California coasts. Archaeologists have found ancient sites and tools that could be linked to these early settlers, hints of people living by the sea thousands of years before Clovis culture appeared. Some of these sites, like Monteverde in Chile, date back 18,000 years, far older than any inland settlement. That supports the idea that humans reached South America much earlier, perhaps traveling all the way down the Pacific coast. So who were these people? We may never know their names, their languages, or their faces, but they were explorers, guided by the rhythm of the waves and the pull of the horizon. They were the first to set foot in a new world, not by crossing land, but by mastering the sea. Today, scientists are searching for proof of their journey. The problem? Most of the ancient coastline is now underwater. During the Ice Age, sea levels were about 120 meters lower than today. That means the camps, tools, and villages of these travelers lie hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be discovered. Underwater archaeology is still young, but with new technology we're starting to glimpse what might have been there. Submerged caves, ancient shorelines, and perhaps one day the footprints of the first coastal explorers. The Kelp Highway reminds us of something profound. Humans have always been travelers. From Africa to Asia, from island to island, from shore to shore, our ancestors followed curiosity and courage into the unknown. Maybe the first Americans didn't walk across frozen plains. Maybe they sailed, paddled, and drifted across the edge of the world, carried by waves and guided by the stars.